James Hamilton for MMA UK, joined via Skype by the UFC's Sam Alvey. Thank you very much for giving us some time, Sam.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me on.
So obviously we've got you on to have a chat, as you've got a fight coming up on the 20th of July, and that's on UFC and ESPN4, and you'll be fighting Cleedson Abrial. Not too far away from the fight. I'm presuming everything started taking place in fight camp and preparations for this one.
Yeah, everything's going great. My coach and I are having a good camp. I've got a lot of training partners, which is nice. I've had a couple fights where all my training partners were injured or had their own stuff, and but not this one. This one I've got anyone and everyone I need.
How much for you as a fighter does it give you that confidence going forward into the fight, knowing that everything's kind of falling into place for you?
It just helps, it helps even more than the confidence. It really does help just with the skill set. Is I've got somebody to throw that high kick or throw that uppercut at me, and a lot of not a lot, but I've had camps before where I haven't had those people, and so it just feels good. It helps me feel ready.
Yeah, and it's obviously you've been back at 205 for a while now. I know you spent quite a lot of time at 185, so back in the swing of things at 205, have you adjusted to things at that, not knowing that you don't have to cut the weight at the end of the camp like you did for 185?
Yeah, now that I'm 205, I can get bigger. So between camps, I can lift a lot more. I don't have to diet as quickly anymore, which is nice. I can keep lifting throughout camp. So 205, it really is much more comfortable. There are bigger 205ers now, but I still don't think I'm a small 205er. I just don't think I'm one of the big ones. I was a big middleweight, and I'm an average 205er.
Something when looking back over your career that I wanted to kind of bring up when we look back to it was the Ultimate Fighter, Shane Carwin, Roy Nelson, fighting at welterweight. I mean, when I knew that had happened, I remember watching the series, but then thinking back, it's quite crazy to think you fought it that weight. Can you tell us what it was like fighting as a welterweight, especially in the Tough House?
Yeah, so I've done it twice, both for the Ultimate Fighter. And I always say, if I'm going to cut weight, you're going to pay me to cut weight. And it was the opportunity to fight in the UFC that I could do it. And I probably shouldn't have. It was terrible. It was very unhealthy. But it kind of showed up in my fight, too. Like, the first fight went well. But then the next fight, I was so tired, so exhausted from the weight cut.
Yeah, I mean, after that, having to make that 170 mark, was there any effects going forward after it, or did you recover from having to make that weight pretty quickly?
You see, I cut 40 pounds to make 170 the same, for the first fight. I put on 35 pounds overnight, and then it was 6 days later I had to be back to 170. So it was just too much. My body never recovered, and when I got out to that second fight, I was just slow. I woke up that morning. I didn't feel great. I just sorry, my phone did something. I just didn't feel great, and it showed in the fight. I was just a step behind everyone.
Yeah. So obviously, looking back at that now, being back at 205, the one thing over your time coming back to 205, you mentioned you're still able to lift during camp. Have you been getting noticeably stronger from camp to camp?
Yeah, since I've been up to 205, I am. And you know what, the UFC PI, I go out there often enough, and they do that body scan, the full body scan. They tell you how fat you are, they tell you how strong you are, they tell you everything. And I put on significant amount of muscle mass, which it's always fun to see. The hard work and the changes I've made in my diet and my strength conditioning programs really paying off.
When you're out at the UFC PI, I'm assuming you get to compare your numbers to other light heavyweights. Do they give you a comparison to where you sit?
No, we don't get to compare to other light heavyweights. We only get to compare to ourselves in the past.
Right.
So from past Sam wasn't nearly as awesome as current Sam.
So we're going to see a bigger, stronger version of smiling Sam Alvey in this fight coming.
Yep, that's exactly it. I made the changes. It's been a long time since I fought. One of my longer layoffs this time, and I've been able to make some adjustments.
Has that been something that's benefited you physically as well, having that extra time out? Have you feeling the benefits of that?
I guess we'll find out during the fight. If I
Yeah,
fight so well, then yeah, it did pretty good. If I don't do so well, then maybe maybe I'll keep going back to back to back. I like the short notice fights. I like the getting out there and just doing it kind of fights. It's sometimes the older I get, the less likely it is that I can take all those short notice fights.
yeah. I guess I've spoken to a few fighters in the past about short notice fights. Is it almost with a short notice fight you have less time to think about it, and you're not really thinking about the opponent so much, and you can just go in there and I guess be the best version of you or as close to as possible.
I've always liked the short notice ones, even though recently my short notice streak hasn't been doing so hot. But I've always liked them. I just get to go out and I'm going to train no matter what. I might as well get paid at the end of my training.
Yeah, and just where you say that, obviously recently things haven't been going your way inside the octagon. Coming into this fight, you're obviously coming off the back of a couple of losses. Does that add any extra pressure going in there, or does it not make a massive amount of difference to you?
Uh, could you repeat that one more time? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
sorry. What I was saying there, Sam, is obviously you're coming into this fight, and you've had a couple of losses leading into this one. Does that add any more pressure going into the fight?
It's no more pressure, but I really want the win this time, even more so than the last time. It's just you can't build up that. I lost. Losing's terrible. I hate losing. Hopefully it never happens again. I'm training so it never happens again. But I went into those fights confident. I went into those fights knowing I was going to win. I'm going into this fight knowing I'm going to win. I've done everything right. I feel good. There's no injuries. Training's going well, and I'm better than him. So it's gonna pay off. I just got to go out there and make it pay off.
With regards to your opponent as well, Clayton's obviously, if you look over his record, I think out his 14 fights, he's had 10 submission finishes. And looking at his debut fight against Ankalev, he seemed to really want to get that fight to the ground quickly. Do you feel that's what he's going to be looking to do with you? Try and get it to the ground and work for the submission?
I Probably, but I can't rely on it. He's got some big hands. He hits hard. I mean, just because he gets a lot of submissions, he has to get it to the ground, and he's hit people to the ground before.
Yeah.
And so I gotta pay attention to those first. If I can avoid his hands, then I have to defend the takedown, and then I've got to hit him. So if I can do those three things, I'm gonna win.
Do you think as well your experience is going to play into this fight as well? Do you think that's going to be a big factor in your advantage, the fact that you are more experienced?
I always think experience matters. You get some guys that aren't that experienced, and they fight like they're inexperienced and make a lot of mistakes. Even though I lost my last fight against Jim Crute, you can see when he hurt me, he immediately celebrated. He didn't go for the finish. If it had not been for Mark Goddard, I would have come back and won the fight. But it was his mistake. He should have tried to finish me. He gave me the chance to live.
Yeah, and just lastly, what I wanted to speak to you about, I know you're a family man. How difficult a thing is that for a fighter during fight camp, balancing family life and making sure you're getting in there and getting the right training? I guess having a very supportive wife helps.
Oh yeah, my wife, my corner, my manager, my wife's wonderful, and I couldn't do any of this without her. But I love doing it with my kids. I'm now a foster father too, so I've got a little baby running around the house. We're due for another child here at the end of August, so we're just gonna get better, and both physically and as a family, bigger, better, and better.
So I guess that's something that brings that smile on a bit more, having those little feet running around the house.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My family's the reason I smile so much.
And sorry, you said you were expecting another baby. When is that again? Sorry.
The end of August.
Brilliant, Sam. Well, congratulations on that. So I won't take up too much more of your time. Thanks very much for giving us a few moments with you, Sam, and obviously best of luck on the 20th of July.
Oh, thank you so much. And yeah, anytime. I'm always happy to come on and talk.
Perfect. Well, just for anyone watching the interview, Sam will be fighting Clayton Abreu, and that's on the 20th of July on UFC and ESPN4. Make sure to tune in and watch that fight.
Yep. Tune in.
Okay.
Tune in.